Hey everyone, good morning. It's morning for me. My name is Normaahayes and thanks for coming back. And if you're new, welcome. Thanks for coming through. So today, I just wanted to do a little catch-up video while I get ready for church. I'm gonna do my makeup and honestly, it's pointless because every time I leave church, I'm just like, there's lines all down my face because his presence is so beautiful. So I hope that your beginning of the year is going amazing. I'm still, I don't know, like a cloud. I feel like last year was such an amazing year for me. Not that I'm saying every day of the year was amazing, but I just saw like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm in this season in my life where I am actually like a little bit decluttered from, decluttered and healed. But he's been so good. And last year, for the first time, I really just experienced joy and happiness, and it's just so different. If you knew me back then, you'd understand why that's so crazy, because at one point in my life, I wanted to die. Not even at one point, I think before I was 30, and even after, during my healing journey, I would always randomly, that's like my go-to thing. Whenever things are hard, whenever I feel like, oh, I can't do this, I'm like, I really just don't even want to be here. I'm like, you got the wrong girl. I don't want to be here. But little by little, that has become a more quiet voice in my mind. And now I'm just filled with gratitude because I've seen God's hand on my life, on my family's life, like my marriage alone. Guys, I didn't think we were gonna make it. And we're about to be 15 years married, okay? And we were engaged for 2 weeks. And I got married for all the wrong reasons. I thought if I got married, I was 23 when I got married. And I thought getting married was gonna make me secure. I was like, oh yeah, if I marry him, then he's mine and he's not gonna do anything, crazy. I don't know why in my head that was a thing. Like married people don't cheat, right? So we, it was such a crazy story, honestly. Maybe I'll share it with him one day because it really was. And we were just so childish. We had no business getting married. But obviously there was a reason. So I look at my children and I'm like, wow. And after we had our first son, so I guess, I don't know. Let me backtrack because I don't know how far you've gone back in my channel. But in 2013, I got pregnant for the very first time, and I was 20 weeks and I miscarried my first son. And after that happened, me and Kobe, my husband, were having issues. And so I was just like, maybe this is just a sign. Like, maybe this is just a sign that we don't need to be together. And I really thought that. Because I couldn't understand why. And at that time, I didn't really hear much about women miscarrying. It wasn't a thing. Like, it is not like that. People talk about it. When it happened to me, I don't think I knew anyone who went through it. And then after I did, I came to find out my mom miscarried like twice. In between her other babies. But, she just dealt with it on her own. I wonder if that affected her. I mean, I don't know, because I feel like the moment that we see that positive sign on the test is like, that's my baby. Like, you see their whole life. And so that was just really a hard time for us. And literally, you know, that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And so I really like couldn't do it without God. I'm like, I don't know what to do. It was so painful. And so my sister, because my dad, he's the one that brought me to church and everything. So my dad and my sisters, you know, they were involved in church. So my sister would give me, you know, verses and scripture. I think by this time I was already saved, but I didn't have a like personal relationship with God. And I didn't really have like a community. I would just go to my dad's church like once in a while. But that literally was just like I can't. And then I remember someone, I don't remember, I think it was Alexis, I want to say, a family friend of ours. Thank you, Alexis, because that really helped me and it stayed in my head. She told me to just picture him like, not counseling, comforting me. Like, picture Jesus. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. Because just thinking about it, like, I was so hurt and I needed a dad. But I didn't know that at the time. And so that's what I would think about. I would just think about him holding me. And at this time, Joyce was my preacher. I love Joyce. If you don't know, Joyce is my great grandma. I love her. And Joyce Myers. So, yeah, I remember, and it just came up to the other night. They were praying for me and, you know, talking about a guilt. And I guess I didn't even realize that I had that a little, but I remember watching, well, at that time I would watch Joyce. I don't know why I read the book of Job randomly in that season that I was pregnant. Or was she talking about Job? It was one or the other. Anyways, the point is, I prayed a prayer and I was like, God, even if you take my son, even if you take my baby, because at that time I didn't know what he was, but I knew. I said, even if you take my baby, I will still worship you. That's all I said. So when that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, I asked for this. So I blame myself for a little bit, but then, you know, little by little, I've been okay. I mean, I have 3 kids. Obviously, that's not something that you ever forget, but that is, I guess, what marked me and what brought me to Jesus. I was so desperate, and I don't know, I see it all around me now. I see that desperation, that longing for more, or I think sometimes we don't even know that there's more. We think that this is life, or whatever you're dealing with, that's it, that's what you have to deal with. Like, no, you can change, you can heal. And so, yeah, I mourned him, I grieved him. I was able, you know, I had such a great support system. My husband, he was there for me. My family, it was beautiful. And then that's when I started going, after I had found the church. But during this time, I was still questioning my relationship with my husband, because I'm like, I don't know, because this happened, it has to be a sign, you know, we always see. And then I found the church that I'm in now, and I went by myself, because I'm like, I'm gonna do my own thing. You need to find out where to go, because I'm leaving. Not I'm leaving, I wanted him to leave. And I went to church. It was nothing like I've ever seen before. It was like a mini little concert. But you can feel the presence of God. Like, even not knowing, even if you come in not knowing God, or like, you still can't help but feel the presence, because he's in the room. And so it was crazy, because it was a Thursday in that Bible study. God was like, you're not done, like, with my husband. And I'm like, oh, I guess. So here we are. We're together and thriving. And it's been, now I'm in that like, oh my God. But it took a long time. It took such a long time because of me, the toxicity that I grew up with, my trust issues, then things that he did to me, things that I did, because I think sometimes too, we are the ones doing the shady things, and then we want to blame other people because we feel like, well, if we're doing it, they're doing it. So even with that, like, I had to really like self-reflect and be like, girl, you weren't the best either. So then, you know, when I went back, I brought him to church with me and it's been a wrap. And since then, it was really bad in the beginning. Like, it was really, really bad. Like, I just wanted to leave him all the time. I did not want to be with him. I was so angry. I was so hurt. At one point, I was disgusted. And yeah, I feel like through my healing journey, I've been able to now see things from a different perspective. Like, now when I see the things that he struggles with, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's not that you want to be this way or do these things. It's just that it's a problem, you know? And of course, you know, when people do things to you, you don't want to think, oh, Mama? Are they okay? You don't want to think about that. You're like, you hurt me. That's it. Mama. Yes? Anyways, I got interrupted and now I forgot what I was talking about. But that is life with 3 boys. Yeah, it's been such a journey, but I know my relationship only made it through, and we're still obviously working through some things, but it was all because of Jesus. It was all because of the healing that I went through. Because when you're hurting and when you come into your relationship with all the junk, you start putting that on the other person, and then you start making it their responsibility to make you happy and to fill in these voids that no one can fill. Only God can fill. No one and nothing. So, you know, through the healing journey, it was very hard. It was very trying. There were times where I would just not want to be with him. But now it's just changed. Like, it's changed. I've seen God change me. I've seen God changing him for better. And it's not like oh my God, it's just the way that it happened. Because I think for a long time too, I'm like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to stop. You hear this, miss? And then it was like, well, girl, you don't have it all together either. So I had a baby and I'm like, I need to figure it out. I need to do something. So that's why I started going to church. And then in my church, they started doing these matrix classes. And I know, so yeah, matrix really, really taught me about God's love for me. And that has been the craziest thing to accept. The hardest, not even craziest, the hardest thing. Like, really believing the God of the universe, of the world, loves me, Norma. He thought about me. Like, I wasn't a mistake. Like, you were intentionally here. I'm intentionally here. Like that. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was a mistake. My mom got pregnant by accident when she was 16. And she didn't even know she was pregnant. She didn't even know she was pregnant. So, you know, I always grew up even with that. Like, bro, my mom didn't even have a choice but to have me. It's not like she wanted me. So, you know, I always grew up with that in the back of my head. But the way that God has shown me his love through the people around me, through my husband even, because even throughout everything, like, even throughout all the dumb stuff that we've done, both of us, I've always known that he's loved me. And I think that's the part that we feel like when people hurt us, they don't love us. And that's not true. That's not true. It's not that they don't love us. It's that there's a problem. There's a root to the reason why. I'm like, I grew up just thinking all men cheat. And that's not true. I know I keep going all over the place, but that's just my brain. So if you're with it, cool. If you're not, sorry. But yeah, he's just been so sweet to me. God has been so present. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I believe it more than I ever have. I do. I believe that he loves me more than I ever have. I've encountered his presence. I've gotten to know him. But it's still a journey. Like, it's still something that I have to continuously be like, you got me, you love me, because you start thinking of him like how you would think of, oh, what my mom would say, what my dad would say, what this person would say, or like, you know, even when we fall short or make mistakes, I always feel like, I used to, not anymore, I've been freed from guilt, but you always feel like, oh my God, he's so mad. Oh my God, he's probably rolling in his grave, or what, you know, like what the things that people say. And he's like, I'm not. Like, I'm not. I'm literally waiting for you to just come to me, because you're trying to live this life alone. And honey, it's just gonna be harder, because having a relationship with God doesn't mean everything is gonna be easy. No. In fact, it gets a little bit harder. It does. It gets a little bit harder, but, or maybe I shouldn't say a little bit, because you're gonna go through it. I'm sorry. You're gonna go through it, but this is why I'm so grateful for the church that I'm in and the community that I have, because I'm not by myself. And whenever I would have these feelings or these insecurities or like these outbreaks, I had my pastora, I had her, and she's one of my best friends now. And like, never from the beginning, like, guys, I told my pastor I smoked weed. I told her, and like, they never judged me. They were like, okay, like, we just gotta pray about it. There's just a reason why. It's just literally like that. And that's the thing. That's what I had to figure out. So the more compassion that I received from God and from other people, now I can be more compassionate towards my husband, right? Towards my mom, towards my family. And I'm not gonna tell you here that I'm like, oh my God, no, I'm not. I'm still dealing with my mouth. I'm still dealing with my little attitude. But it's just not like it used to be, guys. Like, I was so miserable, so depressed, so just mean and petty. And yeah. And I can be still sometimes. I mean, not to people, but just in my head. But again, it's a process. It's a journey, not a sprint. That's what I keep holding on to. So yeah, that has been, like, now we're getting ready to be married for 15 years, and I feel just more in love than ever. And I see him seeking God, and I see him, you know, really trying to get to the root. Because that's the thing, my husband is a good guy. Like, you know, you see him and it's like, oh, he's perfect and stuff like that. Like, it's not like he's out, you know, doing, but internally there's turmoil. And a lot of men go through that alone, and then they get angry. That's how it comes out, because they're stuffing all their feelings, all their emotions. And I saw that with him. Like, then it got to the point where, hold on, let me not talk while I do this, because maybe you don't want to see this. Actually, no, it's fine. It is what it is. Okay, I just want to show you here. Pause, because I get asked this a lot. Do you notice now how, like, my eye got a little smaller because of the black? It just looks more catty. So if you're wanting to have a brighter, bigger eye, don't do this, okay? If you want a more sultry, more like cat eye vibe, do the black. And this one is from Tarte. No, I'm lying, Too Faced. And it is so good. It is one of the only ones that doesn't run on me. So sometimes I just run it along the top too. So, wait, what was I saying? You see, this is a problem. Now I forgot what I was talking about. But guys, literally, God has... Oh, yes, my husband, just seeing him now. And, you know, he still pisses me off. Duh. I feel like that's inevitable. But, like, you know, I'm just more open to, like, not being so hard on him and not taking everything so... like, you know, I think sometimes we just think everything's about us. That was me. Oh, I thought everything was about me. I'm like, you need to make me happy. You need to do this. And, you know, I just thought that I was, like, doing all the things right. And that's far from the truth. So, you know, God even taught me how to be a better wife, how to be a praying wife. And also a mother, because I was not that, like, nurturing, you know, coddling, like, you know, just affectionate mom. It was always, I just didn't get that, so I couldn't give it. But God has taught me to give it. Like, he really has. And even my sons, like, they are affectionate and they give it. They show it to me. And even just them. Like, honestly, I'm gonna cry. Like, I can't even believe that. Like, when I think about it, I'm like, bro, I lost the baby and I'll forever miss Caleb, but I know that I'll see him. But, like, he gave me 3 boys. Like, what? He overdid himself. And he's teaching me how to raise men of God that are going to be healed and are going to know how to deal with their emotions, who have a praying mom, you know. And I think that's the thing with the men. These days, God showed me, like, they didn't have a mom. They didn't have a dad. A lot of the times, you know, when you're... I remember, I think it was Ivana, she said it. She's like, when you're a single mother, you can't mother. You have to be the mother and the father. So you're working and then you have to discipline them. And it's like, where's the room? Where's the room, right? To nurture your kids and to... You can't, because you're by yourself. And my heart, like, when I see... But even sometimes having a man at home, like, they're not emotionally there. And that's something, like, my husband has always showed up for my kids. Like, he does so much. But sometimes he even notices, like, you know, I noticed that I'm like this or like that. So it's because he's reflecting and he's going to his father to teach him how to be a better father. Like, he really just wants us to know him so that we can be like him and love and pass on the inheritance, right? Like, that relationship that we can have. Like, he died so that we can literally talk to him and be with him and commune with him. It's not like the, oh, God of the universe, like, he's so far up there, he only cares about certain things. That's not true. He cares about you. He cares about you. Every little thing about you. And it breaks my heart because there's some people that won't come to him because they feel ashamed. And they feel like, man, I'm just too broken. I'm just too toxic. I'm just too dirty. But you're not. You're not. You're perfect. In his eyes, you're perfect. And he's like, I just want my daughter. I just want my son. And so the point of us getting to know him is so that we can receive his love and then give it out to others. All this stuff on the internet, I just can't. With the condemning, the making you feel guilty. about sin and all that stuff, all the preachers that preach that, I'm like, you know what? There's someone for everyone. I'm like, but that is not the gospel. God is not mad at you. He is not mad at you. He's waiting for you. And he's so worth the struggle, because like I said, I was already struggling before being in a relationship. So now when I had to face my stuff, I was like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this. And that's the thing. We don't want to deal with stuff. We don't want to deal with our stuff because it's too hard. But I promise you, it's harder to stay in it, because then you're going to be miserable, right? You're going to make everybody around you miserable. And then if you have children, you're going to pass it on to them. And so that's how the generation keeps going, of the trauma, of the brokenness. And that's why we have to get to know our Father, because he really wants to heal us. He really wants to be there with us, for us. He's rooting for you. And it took me a long time, like I said, because I would see him in light of like, oh, look at her again doing this dumb stuff. Look at her again. Like, she should know better. Oh, that's it. I can't use her. She's not going to do nothing for me. She's tainted. Lies. All lies of the devil. All lies. Because he has used me. Even when I'm like, are you sure? And then when I read the Bible, I'm like, they all were a mess. All of his disciples were a hot mess. They all fell short. And so it should give you, hope that you are not a lost cause, that you are not far gone from the love of Christ, that you're not damaged goods. He's so good. But he has really taught me that I wasn't a mistake, that he tucked me into my mom's rib to protect me. He showed me that. My mom didn't know she was pregnant, right? And I was in her side. She had a flat stomach. And one day in a retreat, I was praying, and because I was so insecure. I still struggle with insecurity, but I'm not insecure. Like, I know. And I just was so like, God, I'm tired of wanting to die, of just feeling so insecure, of yearning for people's love and all this stuff. And I'm like, I just don't want to be here. And then he showed me, he's like, you are so valuable to me. And this is not just for me. This is just the revelation he personally gave me. But he's like, you are so valuable. And that's why I tucked you in to her side, because I needed you here. And I was undone. And so maybe, I don't know what your story is, but I just want you to know that you're valuable and you're here for a reason, for a purpose. You're not meant to just live a life without a purpose, without doing something great. No, we're called to know God, to love him, and to then help other people with whatever we do. Even with my makeup, I do makeup, and I always ask God, open a door where I can just either talk about you or just people knowing you, right? Your aura, people say your aura, but no, the Holy Spirit. He will, it will show that more time. It's okay, tell me who you hang out with and I'll tell you who you are. Look at who you're hanging around with. What are you talking about? What are you watching? What are you listening to? How are they, is everything so negative, Because I had to take inventory too. And now I'm in a point where it's like, God, I just want to be with you. I just want to be with you so I could be like you. Because we get so tempted to be like the world. But anyways, I still have to do my mascara. Oh, and then I did want to share with you how in this season, I've really been feeling like God just wants me to be still and be quiet. And I know that is something that people, we all struggle with. I struggle with, because we're just like, we got to figure it out. Like, and I just want to tell you that you can quiet your mind. You can learn how to do that. You can. And one of the books that I'm reading now with the girls from church is Soaking in His Spirit. I listened to it, but I'm going to read it. And it's so beautiful. It's very simple, but it's really about learning how to sit and receive God's love. And like I said, it's been a journey just believing that. But He does. He does. He does love us so much. And He's so personal, and He's so real, and He's so beautiful. And I just can't get enough of Him. But I have to look for my mascara. I put my mascara on after. You don't have to watch me do that. But anyways, I just wanted to encourage you and to just give you an update. I don't even know if that was an update. I just went on a whole rant. But God is good. And He just wants His children back. That's it. He's not looking at your sin. He's not looking at what you're doing. He's hurting for you, because He knows that you're hurting. And the reason why we do the things that we do is because we're hurting. And so I pray that you will answer His calling, that you will open the door to Him, that you will invite Him into your heart. No matter where you are, I'm not even saying you have to go to church. If you've been church, you're fine. Do it in your house. Go to your room. Get your Bible. Sit there and say, okay, God, I'm here. I'm tired. Show me your face. And He'll do it. So I pray that you will get to know Him. And I thank you so much for watching. And I will see you on the next one. I'll take a picture to show you my final look for church. But I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Yes, we made it to church. Mama. And this was the final look. Mama. Over to the lips a little bit, but it's fine. Yes? You're happy. He's happy, yes. Amen.